Hello all. The last week of July current affairs we are going to discuss now. The most important current affairs which happened from the Sunday to Saturday, today's newspaper also I covered in this. The most important, the highly important I will be discussing now. So in this particular session, the judiciary has discussed about independent judiciary, independence of judiciary. Why? Because there is one particular legislature in Madhya Pradesh who is having a criminal offense, who is subjected to criminal punishment. He got a bail, very easily he got a bail. And there are other section of people who are poor people who will be struggling a lot, for getting a bail. In spite of right to bail is also one of a legal right. So the Supreme Court of India had told that the judiciary should act independently. They should not come under the influence of any of the legislature or the executive. They should not come under the influence of the legislature or the executive. That is what. So, recently the Supreme Court of India mentioned two parallel systems of justice. One for the rich and other for the poor. So, two parallel systems are there. One for the rich and other for the poor. So, that should not be there. There should be only one system. One for the rich and one for the poor. There should not be two systems. There should be only one system. That is, for the rich and the poor, there should be only one system. So, why that particular systems are there? Because of absence of independence. The judiciary is getting influence under the legislature. The judiciary is coming under the influence of executive. And not only that, recently in Jharkhand, a judge was being killed. So that type of incidents also will lower the morale of the judiciary, the judges. It will also compromise the confidence of the judiciary, the independence of the judiciary. So there is a requirement of independence of judiciary. Constitutionally also, the independence of judiciary is mentioned. It told that the funds which are allocated for the judiciary will not be subjected to voting of the parliament. So independently they can take the money from the consolidated fund of India. Appointments will be independent. A collegium system will be there. Hence their appointment is also independent. Their tenure is independent. Their appointments is independent. So it was dealing with a case where the bail granted to the husband of a legislature in Madhya Pradesh, in spite of a criminal offense which was been there on his name. Madhya Pradesh High Court had granted the bail. The Supreme Court termed the grant of bail to a man with a criminal antecedent who has been evading arrest. It is a grave error. So, like that, we should not provide any bail. Because of the influence of the legislature or the executive, there is a need for utmost independence of the judiciary. In this issue, 4 days back, the Supreme Court iterated that. Not only that, in Jharkhand, a judge was being killed. Those such type of activities also will make the judiciary compromised. So the independence of the judiciary will be compromised. Hence, I want to tell that for the constitution to improve, increase and to get the confidence of the people, the constitutional bodies like Supreme Court and the High Court should be acting independently. There is a need for independence of the judiciary. Second topic. High Court notice to center on plea against IT rules. Yes, IT rules were being made. Intermediaries. Now the social media intermediaries will be controlled. There will be a grievance officers will be there. Whatever the objectionable content is produced or posted in the social media should be regulated. So in High Court, a public interest litigation was being filed because of these new rules. Because of these new rules, the Article 19, right to speech and expression is getting impacted. There is a fundamental right violation. Article 19 is getting impacted. That is which is discussed here. The Delhi High Court has sought the centre's reply on a plea, means a petition challenging the new IT rules for allegedly being in a gross disregard of the fundamental right, mainly Article 19. Right to speech and expression. Yes, I will be compromised now. If I want to express anything on the social media, I will not express. Why? Because there is a grievance officer is there who is looking at all the posts, all the content of the social media. So I cannot express, I cannot speak whatever I want, I cannot criticize the government. Hence my right to speech and expression will be compromised. That is the petition about. That is the petition about. So the new rules are compromising the right to speech and expression. This is what which happened in this week. Central bank digital currency. How we have a currency, a physical currency. How we have the physical currency? The government of India is planning, mainly RBI is planning for central bank digital currency. Central bank digital currency, CBDC. The central bank digital currency will be under the control of the RBI. The central bank digital currency will be under the control of the RBI. And the currency, this digital currency will be used as a currency notes. Easily transferable, easily liquidated like our physical currency. Yes, if I take the physical currency, if I go to any shop, they will accept it. It is a legal tender. In the same way, now I will be having this digital currency, central bank certified digital currency. So in every shop they will be accepting it. For example, if I have PhonePe, if I have Paytm, if I have Google Pay, one shop fellow will accept it, another shop fellow will not accept it. But if it is a government authorized digital currency, then compulsory they have to accept it. So that digital currency they are going to use. You can ask me, sir, digital currency means how it will look like? Those are called as electronic tokens. Electronic tokens are called as digital currencies. What does it mean? There will be a value. A number will be there, for that number this value will be there. There will be a number will be there, for that number this value of amount will be there. So I will go to the shop. So how much is the bill? I will ask. He will tell 1000 rupees. Then I will tell the number, a unique number which will be with me. That is a digital token. I will show the token number to him. So he will be using his code. Only one time it will be acceptable. So once he is used it, finish. My 1000 rupees is debited digitally and the 1000 rupees is credited digitally in his account. So now no requirement of this physical currency, the money, the storage, the producing of the physical currency, this all burden is not necessary now. That is what the plan is all about. Central bank digital currency. The Reserve Bank of India is likely to soon kick off pilot projects access to the viability of using digital currency to make wholesale and retail payments to help calibrate its strategy for introducing a full-scale central bank digital currency. So prelims point of view, we can expect a question. Central bank digital currency means what? Electronic tokens. E-tokens are called as central bank digital currency. An official, 100% official RBI's digital currency would reduce the cost of currency management while enabling real-time payments without any interbank settlement. There is no interbank settlement. If I give 100 rupees, he will accept it. There is no bank involved here. In the same way, if I give my electronic token, he will take it. There is no requirement of any bank transaction. There is no intermediary. Directly it will go to that person. So this many tokens are there with him means this many numbers are there with him means finish. That much of amount he had with him. That is the central bank digital currency all about. Yes, see, a central bank digital currency or a national digital currency is simply the digital form of a country's fiat currency. Means this currency, physical currency in the form of a digital mode. Instead of a printing paper currency or minting coins, central bank issues as electronic tokens. This token value is backed by the full faith and credit of the government. Government will be guaranteeing it. RBI will be guaranteeing it. So that electronic tokens will be having the same existence. That is what. But there are some problems. Cyber security threat will be there. Digital literacy of the population is very poor. Introduction of digital currency also requires regulation, tracking. These are the problems with this national digital currency. But however, it is a welcome step. The central bank digital currency is a central step which will be a legal tender in the future, very soon. Now we no need to carry this physical currencies. We can just go through our digital currencies. Next topic. The right to be forgotten. There is one person, if you remember this person. If you remember this person, when the Big Boss show started, the beginning, Big Boss show started, this person is the winner of the Big Boss 2, Hindi. So this person filed a petition. This person is notorious person, famous for all wrong things. So, at that time, 1 decade back, because of his all mischievous things, everything is recorded and is present in the YouTube. It is present in the social media platforms like YouTube, Instagram, everywhere his videos are present. So, he is filing a petition, right to forgotten, right to be forgotten. Yes, 1 decade back I did a mistake, I am accepting it. But it's a time to forget now, still it is present in the social media. The people are reminding me, the people are still watching it. So the memories are coming up. Right to be forgotten is my fundamental right. So he filed a petition that I have the right to be forgotten, for which all the videos which are there in the internet should be removed. Ashutosh Kaushik, a celebrity, has approached Delhi High Court seeking removal of his videos, photographs and articles from the internet. He cited his right to be forgotten. Kaushik's plea mentioned that the posts and videos on internet related to him have caused him psychological pain for diminutive acts which were erroneously committed a decade ago. Yes, I did mistake 1 decade ago, but after 1 decade also those videos should stay. I am getting psychologically impacted. Please remove those videos. I have a fundamental right to be forgotten. So I don't want to remove, I don't want to remember those days. I don't want to remember those acts which was been done by me erroneously. So right to be forgotten is my fundamental right. The plea also says that the mistakes in his personal life becomes and remains in public knowledge for generations to come. So that things, if it stay in the internet, then people will not forget. The people will remember for generation together. So right to be forgotten. My all videos need to be removed. Asked by this person. Yes, sometimes if our videos are there in the YouTube and we don't want that video to be seen by others, whether we will feel embarrassed or not. Now this person is feeling embarrassed. So he went to Delhi High Court to ask for right to be forgotten is my fundamental right. Right to be forgotten falls under the purview of individuals' right to privacy. Right to privacy is a fundamental right under Puttaswamy case. The judgment of 2017 is clearly mentioned that right to privacy is a fundamental right. Under right to privacy, I am asking for right to be forgotten. The Data Protection Bill, Personal Data Protection Bill also talks about this right to be forgotten. In this act, it is clearly mentioned that the bill exclusively talks about the right to be forgotten as a Ramappa Temple gets World Heritage Tag, UNESCO's World Heritage Tag. Ramappa Temple in Telangana state. Now it got World Heritage Tag. This is the temple. This is the temple. This is the temple. See, this is the temple, Ramappa Temple. So the 13th century Ramappa Temple, which was being constructed by Kakatiya dynasty, as declared as UNESCO's World Heritage Site by the World Heritage Committee. Now it is a UNESCO's World Heritage Site. Built by Racharla Senapati Rudraya, a general of Kakatiya King Ganapati Deva, the 13th century. Once Kakatiya dynasty question asked in 2017. So, Ganapati Deva constructed this Ramappa temple. So, remember for the prelims 2021. The foundation is built with a sandbox technique. Sandbox technique is nothing. See here, the sandbox technique means mixture of sand lime, jaggery and karakkai. These three things they will mix and they will put in the foundation. On the foundation, they constructed the walls. Very costly. On that foundation, they constructed the walls. Now, it is earthquake free. If earthquake comes also, nothing will happen to this. That is the technology which is used by the Kakatiyans of Telangana state. So, the foundation is built with a sandbox technique. The flooring is granite and the pillars are basalt. The lower part of the temple is red sandstone, while the white gopuram is built with light bricks that float on water. This one. Sandbox technique. Simple. We will be doing foundation now. In that foundation, we mix the sand lime with the janggery with the black bilob fruits with sandstone. So, we made a foundation on which we had came up with the bricks. So if any earthquakes also, the foundation will not shake, so the bricks will not fall. That is the reason it might be the 13th century's temple. Today also nothing happened to the structure. Nothing happened to the structure. Because of its unique sandstone technique, sandbox technique, we are calling the Ramappa temples as UNESCO's World Heritage Site. Dholavira, very important. Dholavira. It is Harappan era city, sprawled over 100 hectares. One of the islands of the Rann of Kutch in Gujarat. From 3rd to mid-2nd BC. One of the 5 largest cities of the Indus Valley civilization, Dholavira. It has 2 seasonal streams, Mansar and Manhar. So this Dholavira was being declared as UNESCO's site. One of the picture of the Dholavira. It is now the 40th treasure in India to given the World Heritage Site with Ramappa temple. It is the first site of the ancient Indus Valley civilization in India to get the tag. We have already Harappa, but it is in Pakistan. In Mohenjo-daro, it is in Pakistan. But in India, Dholavira got this UNESCO's World Heritage Site. Other than India, Italy, Spain, Germany, China and France have 40 or more World Heritage Sites. Only these are the states which are having more than 40 World Heritage Sites. Now India, Italy, Spain, Germany, China and France. Pradhan Mantri Jan Vikas Karyakram. Pradhan Mantri Jan Vikas Karyakram. The Pradhan Mantri Jan Vikas Karyakram mainly works for the minorities. Mainly works for the development of the minorities. The Ministry of Minority Affairs is implementing the Pradhan Mantri Jan Vikas Karyakram in the identified minority concentrations areas of the country. Mainly, this is going to work for the minority development. Pradhan Mantri Jan Vikas Karyakram is a program which is envisaged for the development of the minorities. Mainly for the sake of social development of the minorities. Education, health and skill. These are the 3 priority sectors under this particular program. Education, health and skill development. Erstwhile multi-sectoral development program has been restructured and renamed as Pradhan Mantri Jan Vikas Karyakram for effective implementation since 2018. Now this Pradhan Mantri Jan Vikas Yojana is been implemented across India. Earlier only some states were been there. Now in this week they declared that across India this program will be implemented for the development of the minorities. It seeks to provide better socio-economic infrastructure facilities to the minority communities. Pradhan Mantri Jan Vikas Karyakram. 80% of the fund, 80% of the resource will be utilized for education, health and skill development. Mainly education. Out of 100% of the funds, 80% will go for education, health and funds. And 33 to 40% of resources under the Pradhan Mantri Jan Vikas Karyakram would be specifically allocated for women-centric projects. In that 33 to 40% of the funds will be used for the women-centric projects. As far as Pradhan Mantri Jan Vikas Karyakram is concerned, the community notified as the minority communities under section 2 of the National Commission for Minorities Acts would be taken as minority communities. 6 are there. Muslim, Sikh, Christian, Buddhist, Parsis and Jains. Recently the Jains are added to the minorities. This is Pradhan Mantri Jan Vikas Karyakram. Pradhan Mantri Jan Vikas Karyakram. Yes. I will show you one picture now. See, this is our politicians. How beautifully they are fighting, how beautifully they are throwing out our furniture. Kerala Legislative Assembly in 2015. Kerala Legislative Assembly in 2015. See this boxer. I think you are seeing the boxer, the wrestler. So he is doing wrestling in the center of the assembly, the temple of the democracy, the Kerala Legislative Assembly. It is not to the Kerala. In all the states, sometimes in parliament also, we will be seeing such activities. So the Supreme Court is very angry on such activities which are happening in the legislative houses. So the Supreme Court very clearly mentioned in the newspaper through the judgment, acts of vandalism cannot be said to be manifestations of freedom of speech and expression and cannot be termed as proceedings of the assembly. It was not the intention of the drafters of the constitution to extend the interpretation of freedom of speech to include criminal activities by placing them under a veil of protest. This is not called as protest. The Supreme Court told. The Supreme Court told very clearly. The apex court of the country told very clearly that this is not the expression of speech. This is not the intention of protest. This should not be the intention of protest. Hence, we cannot tell this as a proceedings of the House. It is a criminal activity, the Supreme Court declared. The Supreme Court has held that the lawmakers cannot indulge in criminal acts on the Parliament or Assembly floors and then take cover behind the right to free speech. That is not free speech according to the Supreme Court last week. Yes. And the wonder is, the same person is Education Minister now of the Kerala. Kerala government has appealed to withdraw prosecution of top left government accused of vandalism and wanton obstruction of the public property on the assembly floor during a budget. The Kerala government asked to remove the offence on that person. But the Supreme Court is very angry and the Supreme Court told that no, we are going to consider it as a criminal act. It is not a proceedings of the House. It is not the freedom of speech. It is a criminal action according to the Supreme Court. So this type of activities in the legislative houses or in the temples of the democracy will not be allowed further if the Supreme Court takes a severe action on this. Now, Telangana came up with a separate scheme which you can add in the SC empowerment, which you can add in any question with respect to SC. In anthropology option, in sociology optional, there will be questions on scheduled caste. There you can add this. Telangana Dalit Bandhu scheme. Telangana Dalit Bandhu scheme. Under this scheme, 10 lakhs rupees will be provided to Dalit family for the sake of entrepreneurship. For the sake of entrepreneurship, every family will be provided with 10 lakhs rupees. Every Dalit family will be provided with 10 lakh rupees. But this has been criticized a lot. This person, KCR, this person is a very political person. So now their elections are happening in one of the constituency. In that constituency, the Dalit population is very high. In order to get the votes from the Dalit, he came to this particular program. What all programs he made, he didn't continue up to now with respect to Dalits. Now he is coming with another scheme which is called as Telangana Dalit Bandhu. But the intention of the scheme, the program of the scheme, the salient provisions of the scheme is very good. 10 lakhs per family. This is going to be the biggest caste transfer scheme in the country. To promote Dalit entrepreneurship, the government has decided to start a system of reservation for Dalits in sectors where the government issues licenses. Yes. Sometimes wine shops, medical shops licenses will be released. No, in that licenses also Dalits will be provided reservations according to this Telangana Dalit Bandhu scheme. Next, International Tiger Day. This is our tiger. The June 29th, day before yesterday, was Telangana Tiger Day. That is International Tiger Day. The world will not be the same if tigers are not there to thrill us and balance us. So tigers are required. These beautiful tigers are required to thrill us and to balance us. International Tiger Day, July 29. So there is a need for protecting the habitats and nurturing the tigers. The meeting of the 14 tiger reserves in India. At this meeting, 14 tiger reserves in India received the accreditation of the Global Conservation Assured Tiger Standards. Global Conservation Assured Tiger Standards in our tiger reserves, 14 tiger reserves were being got global standards in maintaining and in conserving the tigers. Indian Wildlife Protection Act 1972, in which Schedule 1, it clearly mentioned that it is a tiger need to be protected. International Union for Conservation of Nature, IUCN, Red List, the tiger is declared as endangered, hence we need to protect it. If not, it will become extinct. Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species in Wild Flora and Fauna, CITES, Appendix 1. So, compulsory we need to protect it in international level. So, tiger conservation is a symbol of conservation of forests. The tiger is a unique animal which plays a pivotal role in the health and diversity of an ecosystem. So, we need to protect the tigers. We have Project Tiger, we have National Tiger Conservation Authority, which are exclusively focused to protect the tigers in the country. So, on the event of International Tiger Day, I discussed about it. Cloud burst, a sudden cloud burst which is happening in Himachal Pradesh. India is very much vulnerable for that cloud burst. Recently, cloud bursts have been reported from several places in India. Cloud bursts are short duration, intense rainfall events over a small area. It's a weather phenomenon with unexpected precipitation exceeding 100 millimeter, means 10 centimeter and above rainfall within an hour. 10 centimeter and above rainfall within an hour, then it is called as cloud burst. If any rainfall is happening within that rainfall of 1 hour, if the rise in the water level is 10 centimeter, then it is called as cloud burst. What are the consequences? There will be flash floods, there will be landslides, there will be mud flows, there will be land caving. These are all the consequences. The relative humidity and the cloud cover is at the maximum level with low temperature and slow winds, because of which a high amount of clouds may get condensed at a very rapid rate and result in a cloud burst. So, these are all the criteria for formation of a cloud burst, prelims point of view. What is the criteria for cloud burst? Number 1, a relative humidity. A relative humidity should be there. Number 2, cloud cover at the maximum level with a low temperature. Maximum clouds at a low temperature. Second condition. And winds should move slowly. Slow winds. So, the clouds will burst at that place. It will not get moved, diversified. It will not spread. If these 3 conditions are there, then there is a chance of cloud burst. So, 2 MCQs we will discuss. 1. The theme for the 2021 International Tigers Day is their survival is in our hands. Madhya Pradesh has the highest number of tigers at 526, closely followed by Karnataka and Uttarakhand. India is a land of royal tigers and current tiger population stands at 2967, which is 70% of the global tiger population. Which of the correct answer? Their survival is in our hands. Their survival is in our hands. Madhya Pradesh has the highest number of tigers at 526. We will go back and we will check. Yes. So, this is, you have to work on it. So, what is the tagline? This type of questions we can expect. It's a current affair, tiger based. So, answer is 193. Next. Pradhana Mantri Jan Vikas Karyakram. The program aims to develop socio-economic basic amenities like school, college, education and ITI skill development centers for the minority. True. 100% of the resources under the Pradhana Mantri Jan Vikas have been earmarked for projects like health, education, not 100%, 80%. So, this answer is 193. And this answer is whether 123 or 193. The theme is this. The Madhya Pradesh has the highest number of tigers. This is correct. And 70% of the world tigers are present in India. So, these 3 are correct. This answer is D. This answer is C.